Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of XTalks. In this XTalks, we are going to burn some bridges. So I hope that you guys have brought some dynamites as well as some matches.
Oh boy, it sounds like you're really wanting to go at this.
All fun and games until Layer 1X starts burning bridges. All right, I guess we can kick this one off. We almost have every speaker here. We have a few participants joining as well. Just a reminder, if you guys would like to come up on stage, do your part, want to suggest anything, stuff like that, just request the mic and I'll let you up on the stage. If you are a shy person, then make sure you use the comments to ask questions. I'll bring those questions up towards the end of this discussion. Cody, would you like to give us a rundown of what we can expect in this one?
For sure. Welcome, everybody. My name is Cody. I'm the Chief Experience Officer at Layer 1X. And today, our topic for today's episode is going to be obviously burning bridges. And so, um, hopefully, you guys enjoyed the clickbait kind of title that we have on this episode to get you guys over. So we're glad you're here. For those that are just joining us, if you're not familiar with what XTalks is a platform that we've developed that is sponsored by Layer 1X to allow projects, no matter the chain that they're on, the ability to come in and share their projects, share their expertise, as well as be able to kind of share their knowledge and things like that on various topics. And so, with that being said, I think we've got just about everybody up on stage. Let's, while we're waiting for just a few more to kind of join, let's go ahead and just start with those that are here and allow you guys 30 seconds to basically tell us a little bit about yourself, who's behind the handle, and kind of what you guys are currently working on in the Web3 space. So let's start with Ultrade. Do you want to take the mic and tell us about yourself?
Sure. And sorry, I was in and out. I was trying to make it work on a browser, but that's not going to work apparently. Elon is too busy to fix that, so I had to go back to my phone. Um, so I'm Dan. I'm the founder of AllTrade, and we're building what we call Trading 3.0, which is bridgeless cross-chain order book trading. It's a native exchange or a NEX that enables trading across uh, currently 12 chains already, uh, and with the real order book with limit orders, market orders, kind of like you would expect from a centralized exchange, only it's completely non-custodial, and it does not use bridging of assets of any kind. So when you're trading, with uh, cross chain, typically you need to bridge assets at some point in the process, create wrapped assets, etc. With AllTrade, there is no wrapped asset anywhere in the system, which I think is very relevant to our call today. And not only that, AllTrade is actually also a white label SaaS platform, so anyone can launch their own branded version of the trading platform and provide trading services to their own users, self-list their own tokens for trading, co-list each other, and everything is in a shared network of liquidity across all chains and all partners. And that's about it.
Perfect. Yes, definitely the on topic for you guys today. That's for sure. Call of the Void. Why don't you take the mic next?
Hey, thanks for having me. And it's usually I get called on mic when I'm retweeting the space or something loud is going on right next to me. So glad that if everyone can hear me. I'm Matt, CEO, co-founder of Call of the Void. We are a game studio building multiple mobile games in an ecosystem, the Void ecosystem. We have a token coming out soon called Void on Polygon. We're also working with Mutable, and we are creating an RPG which is going to be interoperable with our 4 mobile games. And we believe in player ownership of their own accounts. So everyone has an account NFT that they can level up and farm, trade with each other. And uniquely, you'll have to burn 4 of these to get into the final game. So the final game relies on resources from all of the previous, and it's an exploration MMO. And each game informs the systems that we'll be putting in the final game. So to get in the final game, the system has to already be a successful mobile game. So that's us.
Perfect. Welcome. Mascot, you want to go next?
I sure do. Can you hear me okay?
Loud and clear, my friend.
Fabulous. What's up, guys? I'm Mascot. I'm the team manager over at Spirit Swap over on the Phantom Network. Hopefully everyone's familiar with Phantom. If not, you will be with some of the stuff that they're working on with their Sonic update. Really, really excited for that. I'm stoked for today's topic because as someone who works intimately with a DEX and all the behind the scenes of daily DEX life, so to speak, bridging is so important, right? We always think of DEXs in terms of volume. Volume is king, right? But we believe in so much more than that at Spirit Swap. We want to help people have full control over their finances, not just on Phantom, but anywhere they go. And so we offer a bridge on our exchange, and we, with everything we do, want that to be the best possible experience. So bridging for a long time has been a pretty linear experience, and there really hasn't been a lot of deviation. And the technology that's really popping up now, like what Layer 1X does, for instance, or the things like Old Trade was talking about, really are kind of going to set the standard moving forward for what really having cross-network value is going to look like. And as someone who works in the DEX space, I am super pumped for all of that, because I know in the early days, man, bridging when I first started was scary and confusing, and it's terrifying to watch on Etherscan to see your funds kind of just disappear into the void, and you cross your fingers, and I'm like, I hope they come back where I sent them, because they're gone. So really excited to see the evolution of that technology, because clarity is power, and power brings value, and value brings more users. So super stoked for today.
I love it.
Brilliant. Even though it's 8 a.m., it's 8 a.m. for Mascot. He's stoked and ready. That's really good. Also, 6 a.m. somewhere in the world, and he's also alive and kicking. Thank you, Cody.
Yeah, no. I wouldn't miss this AMA for anything. So, but thanks, Mascot. You're definitely going to bring a different perspective to, I think, this conversation. And we've got Mindless, who always seems to have a good opposition, something to say about the topic. So, Mindless, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, what is up? Thanks for allowing me on. Good to see you all. It's good to see a couple of my friends here and a few new faces. I hope to get to know you all sooner or later. A little bit of a soft shell. I manage the BD side of things here at Style Protocol. We're not a bridging mechanism per se. We're just a straightforward Web2 infrastructure layer to allow individuals to use their NFTs in gaming ecosystems, irrespective of what game engine and blockchain that it's built on. But bridging is obviously a term and a I suppose, sector within the crypto space that's been around for a very, very long time. I still remember when the best bridges in the ecosystems were exchanges, because there was no way to move between these layer ones most of the time. But my knowledge on this topic specifically is a little old and outdated, so I'm hoping some of our friends and guests on the show today can help me with that. But I will try and bring some sort of oppositional views, as polarizing as possible. I think sometimes it helps move discussions forward.
No doubt. I always love having Mindless on AMAs because the different perspectives that we can usually bounce off of each other. So thanks for joining us. We've got the DeFi Dojo. Do you want to go next?
Hey everyone, good morning, good afternoon. Adrian here, co-owner of the DeFi Dojo. We are a crypto community hosting AMA, supporting projects on their long run here in the crypto space. And yeah, educational content, privacy matters, security, privacy and security has been kind of like our focus for the past few months into the space, especially now with that big wave of crypto adoption that's coming. So yeah, fan of Layer 1X, great space as always, and happy to be here.
Well, welcome. Big welcome to all of our panelists participating in today's episode. For those of you that are just joining, my name is Cody. I'm the Chief Experience Officer at Layer 1X. We are a Layer 1 blockchain that specializes in true interoperability. We are totally bridgeless, decentralized technology that allows us to move through EVM and non-EVM chains. And we can move not only your assets, but we can also move data and logic, which is huge for today's discussion. If you haven't already, if you have any questions, please feel free to drop those in the threads below, as well as make sure that you retweet this space link so that we can basically get this out as far as we can, because I think it's going to be a great topic, and we've got lots of great experts to talk on our topic today. And so we definitely want to give them some love. So make sure that you go in and give them a follow as well. Likewise, I think we will. We do have an announcement, but we will save that towards the end of the show here a little bit. With that being said, let's kind of dive into today's topic. So,
Cody, I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry to jump in. Just one thing. So I know how much you guys hate bridges, and that's the reason you have tuned into this space. So if you could all go into the comment section and spam the GIF that is of burning bridges, we are going to select a random person who has posted that GIF, and we'll give them 50 L1X tokens. So if you would like to win those tokens, spam those GIFs.
Dang, that sounds like a good plan. I like that. Yeah, so get out there and spam them. All right. So yeah, today's topic: burning crypto bridges. You love them, you hate them. Crypto bridges are definitely the backbone of a multi-chain world. They let us swap tokens, chase yields, and connect with different communities across different blockchains. But let's be real, they've also become the hacker's favorite playground. Billion-dollar heists have really shaken us to our trust to the core. And so let's kick off with this question. Are bridges necessarily the evil? Are bridges a necessary evil in pursuit of a connected crypto future? Should we be patching the holes in this leaky boat, or is it time to ditch the bridges and build something entirely new? What's your guys' thoughts? Feel free to jump in. There is no formal hand raising. Most of the time, I can't even see your hand anyway. So thanks to X Spaces. So feel free to just jump in, and we'll take it from there. Who wants to go first?
I mean, maybe I can jump in first from someone who is from the Web 2 world, who's come more into the Web 3 world and was having a crash course on bridges when there was a massive hack from, I think it was Axie Infinity, their bridge or so got hacked. And I've known that people do this, and essentially it's, to me, I think the necessary evil part is, who is the audience that is bridging? I mean, if you're a game, maybe you don't need the bridges. Maybe everyone's just going to be happy if they can have a Web 2 interface to interact with their stuff. But maybe on the DeFi side, like, I think from someone who's maybe not as versed as you guys, what are the advantages of putting my NFT on a different protocol or swapping between one thing and the other. Aside from gas fees, the only thing I really can see is like now I have Polygon on Eth or whatever it is. Well, it's an EVM anyway, but like, what is the point to the general public as opposed to people who are just chasing arbitrage opportunities?
That's a great question. So I've got my thoughts and feelings, but I want to hear from our panelists.
Can you repeat the end tail of your question just one more time there for me?
Yeah, sure. So for a normie or someone who's being onboarded into Web3, what is the point of a bridge? Is a bridge something only going to ever exist for highly educated blockchain users? Or is it something that we all actually need and we don't know we need it?
Okay, this is a great question for me. I can answer this beautifully. So when I got into crypto years ago, I probably, like many other people, live in the U.S. and the U.S. loves to, sort of have a tighter hang on what's offered on centralized exchanges, right? So as I said, I work on Phantom. Phantom was one of the first chains that I ever wanted to get involved with when I got into crypto. You can't buy Phantom in the US on a centralized exchange. So my very first experience was reading a Twitter guide step by step on how to bridge like a couple $1,000s of my life savings that I wanted to invest from Ethereum to Phantom. And that was terrifying as a user, right? But we got there. So I think it really comes down to need. I don't think that it's, is it something that like only the more intelligent crypto users can really need or take advantage of. I think there's this sort of void space right now that bridges should be easy to use, and they're not as easy as they should be, but they need to be, because there's going to always be an edge case like me, right, where there's a network that's maybe not offered on the wallet that you use or in the country that you live in that you can buy on a centralized exchange. So there's always going to be a user there that is interacting with the need for a bridge, regardless of the level of familiarity that they have with the technology. So I don't think it's so much of, is a bridge something that we don't necessarily need, it's only the crypto elite that are using them. I think it's taking an inherently valuable technology. As long as we have blockchain networks, we will need bridges or some variation of what looks like a bridge, right, to help people control their funds to the best of their ability. I think what the narrative needs to shift for users is normalization of this process, right? And part of that comes with security and clarity and legibility. But I don't think it's anything that you should have to be educated in to use. I think it should be something that we work in to be part of the culture, just as familiar as gas fees are to users, right? That's the first thing you learn when you get on Ethereum, right? You're like, let me send all my Ethereum. Oh, wait, I can't. Why is that? Right? And then you learn that experience, right? That you have that learning moment, so to speak. And I think bridging needs to be that way too. I think that it's something that everyone should be familiar with, because it's such a powerful and important tool of the experience for everyone. But getting there is the hard part, right? As Cody had stated, bridges are a pain point. Me personally, I'm on Phantom. We were exposed to the multi-chain hack, and we suffered greatly. A lot of people on our network, a lot of my friends closed down their businesses because of that hack, and it's a terrible, awful thing. I don't think that it's necessarily an evil thing. I think it's just a pain point that we will grow out of. That when you're building a bridge, security over everything alongside usability and legibility are the number one priorities. And I think we're working on the security part. I don't think the legibility part is there. I think that sometimes that gets lost in the dust of, if you just downloaded a wallet 15 minutes ago, can you confidently get to any chain? No. And that's the problem.
So maybe if it's okay, I can just have a little response as playing the role of super normie. if I download a wallet in 15 minutes and I want to get another chain, I'm probably going to look up which wallets work with that chain and just get that as well. Because there are infinite seed phrases, there are infinite wallets. Why would I want to concentrate the ability to get hacked in the one wallet where I have my stuff? Wouldn't it be easier just to get another one if my MetaMask doesn't connect? I mean, the amount of shitcoins that are detected by my safe wallet, and someone is teaching all of these wallets to see all of these shitcoins, by the way, that touching them or interacting with the contract can drain you. So, like, is it really necessary that I'm? Is it because I really love the wallet I'm with that I won't get another wallet, or is it I'm just trying to evade the laws of my country that I need a bridge? I'm still struggling to see the widespread use case because there are kind of wallets for everything now.
Guys, I think we might be kind of confusing all sorts of terms and usages, use cases, and so on. Let's maybe clarify some things. Please feel free to stop me if you think they're already clear, but a bridge is not about, what assets can I see in my wallet. It's not, most of the bridging being done today are either to, from a end user perspective, it's either to move away from from an asset that you have on chain one to another asset that is native to chain two. That's one use case, right? And you might want to do that because, for example, you just want to own that asset and you don't have any other way to do it. You need to kind of in a sense swap away from an asset on chain one to an asset on chain two. That's one use case for an actual bridge, right? When we're talking about bridging, we're talking about different functionalities. So that's one functionality. Behind the scenes, there's potentially some bridging of the of the original asset as a wrapped version of another asset, or maybe not. Kind of depends. And then there's another use case where you actually want to create the wrapped version of asset, your asset from chain one on chain two, right? So I have, I don't know, link on Ethereum, and I want wrapped link on whatever, on Solana, right? Why do I want that? Because maybe there is some DeFi opportunity there, where I can stake the link there and make, better yield in some protocol. Or maybe there is, a trading mechanism there that is cheaper than Ethereum and would allow me to trade my link token or use it as a kind of like an entry point to an exchange or something, or to a DEX, etc. So those are typical end user cases for actually bridging an asset from one chain to another. The wallet question is very different, right? I mean, there are multi-chain wallets and there are single-chain wallets. In a multi-chain wallet, you can just hold an asset of multiple chains, right? So you can hold an asset on Ethereum, you can hold an asset on Polygon, you could hold an asset on potentially even Solana, right? So some MetaMask allows you to have multiple EVMs, and now I guess also Solana. But a lot of wallets don't. But that doesn't have anything to do with the bridge. So from an end user perspective, if we're talking about, should users need to use bridges or not? To me, the answer is we ideally want to move away. Bridges are kind of like, in a sense, they are an intermediate technology. It's kind of like, a 1.5 of something, right? Or 2 or, 2.5. And we need to kind of make them obsolete to the extent possible, where in most protocols don't actually require creating wrapped assets, which is essentially the bridging, uh, in order to function. There are other ways of accomplishing things, and I think that's where we need to go. And by extension, by developing these technologies, we not necessarily just obfuscate bridging, but actually make them obsolete, or at least in most cases. That's how I see things.
Those are some great points. I do kind of want to add maybe a variation to going with what Matt was talking about with the crypto wallet kind of perspective. As I agree with Alltrade, that wallets don't necessarily have anything to do with the trade itself. Let's take a step back and look at the cognitive behavior of a typical newbie in crypto, right? I remember from my first experience working within crypto, I went on to a centralized exchange, and then as I started gaining a little bit more confidence, I started branching out into, my creating a MetaMask type of wallet, and then being able to jump these different chains that MetaMask offered. But a lot of that, when it came to my first bridging experience, because I wanted to buy a specific coin, I jumped into it. I bought the token through the assets that I could buy because I am here in the States. I had to go through certain different things to get it, and then I had to bridge it over to another one. So I had to watch a YouTube influencer on it back in the day, walk me through it, and that was my first experience of doing that. And so, I think that from a brand new to a certain type of level of user, they're going to get accustomed to their routines of doing things. If that's buying from fiat to crypto, and onboarding, on ramping their money into crypto through a certain means, may require them to basically jump ship and jump over to something else. And so, I don't feel like having a brand new wallet is definitely going to protect you in that much of a sense, because a lot of these bridges are, centralized, and you are basically taking your assets over. Alltrade and us, we don't require the custodianship of your tokens when you're transferring it, which is very unique in that sense. But on the flip side of that, majority of the tokens, you do have to give up your custodial rights. And I mean, in 2023, I was reading an article in preparation for this episode. I think it was like $2.61 billion dollars were actually stolen or hacked as a result of a bridge. And so there's a lot of risk that comes with bridges. And so I agree that we definitely need to move away from that. It is an older technology, and with the newer technology, like both what we're offering at Layer 1X, the true native interoperability between EVM and non-EVM chains is going to be paramount to that success. So, with that being said, when we kind of look at the complexity of chains currently, and I believe in this bull run, we're starting to see a lot more focus on interoperability, and having games and DeFi projects starting to move cross chain, and the desire to have to move cross chain. What are some of the limitations that, if it's your project or if it's some of the limitations that you've seen in the industry, what are those limitations that you are seeing trying to fulfill this cross-chain capability for your project?
So in case I'm rugging and there's someone else speaking, just shout at me and let me know. But in terms of cross-chain, I think the biggest one for us is we're just using the ZK EVM rollup, and we had to make a decision. Do we burn our existing Polygon token that we made nearly a year ago? The idea being we wanted to create it before TGE to avoid getting taxed from summoning money out of the ether or out of the void, as we like to say. So for us, it's a lot of CEX don't exactly list the new ZK EVM, and we have to wait for a mutable to actually go through those conversations and things like that. So if you want to have, if we wanted to use the benefits of having a ZK EVM rollup chain for our token, then we would be like calling ourselves out for dexes. So I guess in some sense, maybe a bridge would make sense if you wanted to interact with these things. But yeah, there are definitely still problems being cross-chain. For example, I would like to, in our project, have various different values of NFT or item being on different chains. So if we want something that is very, very liquid, like resources, we might use Scale. If we want something that is kind of just stable and we can batch, we might use Polygon. And if we want something that is a truly rare reward, we might even use F.
Perfect. Does anybody else have anything they want to share about their project in terms of their limitations or issues that they're having with cross-chain?
I don't have a project, but maybe I can ask Layer 1X and you guys maybe like kind of like the same question. What limitations are you taking off? Like what barriers are you removing for projects like, with kind of like the different chains and the solutions that you have there? Like how are you helping projects?
Well, that's a great question. So for most bridges, they only can move, assets based on, as Ultrade was basically explaining before, it's a wrapped version of your token. And so it's only assets that you can utilize. Because we've built our own EVM and consensus and Oracle, we can basically move assets as well as data and logic. So what that means is if you're familiar with like on-chain and some of these other chains that's specifically specialize as a layer one in the communication, we even go a step further than that, allowing you to basically connect assets, be able to connect your projects to smart contracts, so that you can utilize everything without having to bridge across. So imagine, you playing a game or you're participating in some sort of DeFi yield farm or something like that. There's a lot of capabilities for you to not only utilize the TVL and assets that you have on various chains in a particular project, but the ability to keep it on chain and basically manage it all through layer 1x. That is kind of where we're bringing to the table is that true interoperability component. But like I said, you're not having to go through the cost of moving things across chain unless you want to. Along with that, there's a lot of added bonuses as well to what we can do. Take for an example, like if you were to create a digital identity, it's not like you're going to want to try to keep bridging your data across to all these other chains that you're participating on with a singular digital identity. It just doesn't make sense, right? But if there's a way that you can tap into your digital identity from, let's just say, like a layer 1x kind of destination source, you would basically be able to use that data and pull that data and logic in from all these different chains that you're participating in one centralized location, so a single source of truth, and be able to leverage that as you engage on all these other platforms without kind of parking your data from other chains on there as well. So there's some added security there as well, because using ZKs, zero knowledge proof kind of stuff, you can verify that you do have the assets, that you do have the permissions, you do have all these different things without having to bridge that kind of data and logic over as well. So those are just some of the key components that we can do from a interoperable state on that. Does that answer your question?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was more kind of like targeted towards those who don't know about what you guys offer, etc. So they can, because I highly suggest, especially for the project owners here, devs and builders, to check Layer 1X and what you guys have to offer. So yeah, I think the solutions are great, and kind of like going a bit backwards to some of the questions earlier about the newbies and the new people coming into the space, and kind of like the use of the actual chain and how difficult it is. I think like with every new technology, right? History wise, if you take the history, whenever something new is introduced, it's always difficult. People will get scammed, drugged, and all that stuff, and will lose money. This is how things work. So it's on us, on first place, to educate ourselves before jumping into something new, into a bridge, into a new wallet, into a new asset, into crypto space or whatever that is. We need to educate ourselves, right? So trying to find the right people, the right communities, the right YouTube videos out there, even the right projects to invest, right? But take it slowly. Try to understand some of the concepts. I know, sometimes people are kind of like, but I don't know how to read contracts. Not necessary, right? But if you ask around, if you are asking communities, or if you kind of like try to find the good feedback instead of on a YouTube video, instead of going straight away from the first YouTube you saw about the project, jumping it. Try to find a lot of YouTube videos about the project, about the specific project, and kind of like gather all the feedback into one place and get a better understanding. But yeah, I think like the bridges, old style as of now, they are getting better and better, and by the fact, yeah, that they are getting better, the risks are being kind of like reduced over there, and people, the percentage of people losing money compared to how it is right now, because I think it was 2.7 billion you mentioned, Kobe, earlier, that have been lost in bridges by people bridging. It's a high amount. It's insane, but we are getting closer. Again, with the tools that you guys are building, I think it's all about time when it comes to the bridging. The fastest bridge is taking place, the transaction, the risk kind of gets eliminated, becomes lower. So yeah, great stuff. And again, in the end of the day, it's all about education. Even when for the project owners, when they are building something, it's about educating themselves on the new technology, on what's being introduced, the new contracts, the new chains, all that stuff. So keep it up.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah, and thanks for the shout out. We definitely want to talk about crypto bridges and interoperability. We appreciate the call out, but this is all about kind of what we can do as a community to kind of move forward and go from there. I'm kind of curious. I think you bring up a very good point about evolution, right? Evolution is something that's always going to occur, and things are always going to get better. Somebody introduces something new, and it's going to be something that will take some time, but then eventually everybody will start adapting to it because it is that next wave, and then something new will come out, and then we kind of evolve to that as well. If you don't mind, I'm going to pick on Mascot here for a minute, so hopefully he's ready. But with him being, I believe it's Spirit Swap that you guys are with.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So how are you guys basically, I mean, with this new kind of native interoperability that, Layer 1X and some of these other people are trying to work towards, how are you guys basically, I guess, battle prepping yourself for what's to come in the near future? And how are you guys planning to adapt to these newer technologies that are coming out from your perspective and from your project?
Well, first and foremost, we definitely just try to keep our ear to the ground in general. Crypto moves, a million miles an hour. So we try, excuse me, choking on my coffee. Yeah, we try to keep our ear to the ground as to what's going on. We talk with you guys pretty often. Ina does a fantastic job of always keeping everyone up to date. Our CTO is very like pumped for new technology all the time. So whenever something new comes out and we're like, hey, have you seen this aggregator or this bridging opportunity? He's usually so quick to jump on integration for something like that. Wormhole just partnered with Phantom Foundation to start offering what should become a native USDC backed by Circle in the coming months on Phantom. And he had a working bridge for Wormhole to get those assets over to Spirit Swap in 20 minutes after that announcement. So when he's pumped, he works very quickly. And so we're grateful for that because it kind of gives us, first mover advantage as opposed to other exchanges and stuff, because we have such an excited team that's very ears to the ground and paying attention to everything. As far as how that looks for us in a user standpoint, it's always in our best interest to keep Spirit Swap a fluid experience so that as technology gets faded out and new technology replaces it, we try to keep that up to date as quick as possible because it's important for our users to get the best quotes and the best security and the best usability and legibility. But really, what it really boils down to, outside of that, from the user perspective, is ease of use. Right? We've used a couple bridges now on Spirit Swap, and a lot of that ease of use comes down to the team. I've had inferior bridges that are much easier to work with because the team behind them really care about the product that they're building. I've had really good bridges that we don't use their product because the team behind them doesn't really care about what they're building or the customers that are using them. So technology is very nuanced for us. We love new technology, but we also, more importantly, in everything that we do with Spirit Swap, is we want to build great relationships. That's why we love Layer 1X. You guys are awesome. You guys are so quick to reach out to us and help us out with stuff that I would choose to work with you guys over a lot of, competition because you guys show up, which surprisingly doesn't happen a lot in this space. It's kind of surprising, even as a large, DEX. There are some teams that are just disinterested. So it's very nuanced for us. The best technology for us right now in the phases that we're in our experience and for our users, the best technology is the one that has the best support. Because I can deal with a bumpy product if my dev can talk to their dev and say, hey, we have this issue XYZ and hash it out in a day. I've worked with products where we'll send a list of bugs and issues and claim requests and stuff, and they don't get responded to for a week and a half. And for my users, that's unacceptable. So I think the technology is always pressing on, right? But it's not until a team steps up and says, hey, we have this technology and we care enough about it that we care about how we present it and how we share it, that it really gets adoption. Or adoption, I apologize. So that's kind of how we handle things on the DEX side, right? Like, great technology, if it's almost unusable because the team behind it doesn't help with anything, doesn't help with integration, doesn't offer support, we're not going to use that product because if something goes wrong, we're up a creek. And so that's never the situation that we want to put ourselves in. And I think that a lot of other exchanges are probably in that same space. I've talked to a lot of my contemporaries about the products that we use, and the complaints are the same, right? XYZ doesn't give good support to their customers, or this business is great, they're smaller, but they're really on it. And so I think relationships play a huge part in the success of bridging as a whole when talking about working with other use cases like DEXs or whatever that may be.
Perfect. Thanks. That was a great answer. So before I go on to the next question here, just want to remind our listeners that if you guys have a question, a burning question about crypto bridges, where any of these projects are headed, feel free to leave those in the comments below, and we'll bring those up here in just a few minutes. But I kind of wanted to ask one last question before we do, and that's mainly around kind of the regulation of things. Here in the U.S., there's we all love our friend Gary uh, over at the SEC. It seems like they don't know from their heads from their bottoms, but it's kind of interesting as you kind of read some speculation as to governments and regulation coming in to increase bridge security and things like that. Um, do we feel like if we keep going down the crypto bridge route that there will be more of an eye or more regulation come in on these type of things, or do you think with us moving away from this kind of older technology and evolving into similar things of what like Layer 1X is offering, that we will decrease the amount of eyes that are of regulation that'll be on us in a crypto space? Mindless, go for it.
Hey, appreciate it. This is a good question. So, from what I've seen, I think the cat is out of the bag a very long time ago, a decade ago, and it's at a point now where, irrespective of how hard regulation pushes, there's really nothing they can do to stop any of this stuff. And it's almost as if the harder regulators push, the more this space evolves to work around them and build infrastructure and means of operating that are effectively unregulatable. Even the most recent push at Uniswap or entities of that type, really they can sort of enforce and push on the firm or the team or the website or the front end, but everything else is built in such a way that anybody can now plug into that with its smart contracts and decentralized liquidity pool. So, like the majority of the operation and the protocol still exists, and there's no way you can turn that back. So I start most of these discussions from this perspective that regulators and regulations, specifically in the Web3 space, are now at a backhand, considerably so. And I'm a bit of a technology maxi, so I think the more of a stimulus we give and harsher conditions from a regulation perspective, the more builders in this space will find out more and more ingenuitive ways to build more robust ways of doing things that cannot be censored or controlled or enforced or shut down or pushed aside.
Yeah. Can I just jump in? Sorry.
Go for it.
I do believe that one of the things that we're seeing with the regulatory environment is that there are now more laws than there were. I mean, we had to set up in Panama not to avoid laws, but because we didn't know which ones were coming. And that was the advice of our lawyers. So I do think that there is definitely the case that the regulatory environment will be improved. We've seen more ETFs getting approved all over the place. And I think with the ETF approval, then the need for people to push on and actually make this space more legitimate is higher, especially when you see the amount of demand. I mean, there is only hackers and scammers because of the demand, not just because of the poor UX, UI, and the poor security. It's because people actually want this. So I think there will be regulation, but it depends. If you are an advanced user, I think you'll just skirt it anyway. But for the rest of us, I think we need a core to normalize the Web 2 to 3 business opportunities that we have. And we need a solid ground so that we get mass adoption, because the government fighting us is probably the worst press for the space. Even though people don't trust the government or whatever, it's one of the worst things that we can have. We literally not only have the government fighting us, but we have gamers fighting us. We have everyone saying it's a scam. And if we come in line, if we have that support, people are starting to sort of regulate it and make money from it in a nice, normal, regular way, then yeah, we're just going to be viewed like a slightly better dressed stock market. So I think that's the hope.
No, I love it. Great insight and feedback. Okay, great. We just have a few minutes left. So, Sam, do we have any community questions you want to bring up to our panelists?
Yeah. Yeah, just one question before I let everyone go off, and then we can sort of set fire to the bridges. But yeah, it goes like this. What are some features that the speakers are looking to implement once we burn bridges? Interesting question.
That is an interesting question.
That's a very good question. Yeah, sorry. Cody, sorry, I'm talking over you, but it's a very good question. Guys, take the mic. Don't be shy.
Take the mic and burn the bridges.
Dan from AllTrade, AllTrade already burned bridges on their platform, so I'm very curious to hear what's the consequences, if Dan is available, obviously, and also from everybody else.
The consequence. I mean, look, we're still on testnet. We're going to be launching mainnet in the next few weeks. We're in audit now, but the consequence is that you'll be able to trade with AllTrade across multiple chains without being exposed to bridge risk, and that's that's a huge advancement. In our specific case, not only that, you'll be able to trade also with real order books, basically kind of like a centralized exchange, only not centralized, non-custodial. So with all the capabilities, it's not, an AMM, a swap, etc. It's a full-on exchange. But being able to do that across multiple chains and without bridges, I think is a game changer in the industry, and very important because the security is paramount, and reducing the attack surface by eliminating bridges from the equation here is a major step forward.
Couldn't agree with you more, Dan. It is definitely a move forward, and applaud what you guys are working on over there. AllTrade. I think that it's important for a lot of people to try to wrap their head around with what ingenious thing you guys are trying to build with the multi-chain platform for trading. I mean, that's huge. So yeah, thanks for sharing that. Mindless. Go for it.
No, that was a great point by.
Sorry, can I just say that Cody keeps calling you mindfulness.
Hey, it's early for me.
It's
early.
This is so good.
No, it's great. I get that a lot.
Go on, sorry.
And sometimes people call me Mindle. First 6 characters, which is, I think, even more funnier. That was a great point by a friend earlier. I want to sort of add to that a little bit. We mentioned wormhole a little while earlier, and I think some of our friends have forgotten that there was a $325 million wormhole hack in 2022. It's so easy to forget these things, that they do happen. That was a bridge between Ethereum and Solana, interestingly. I think, just to add to the previous point, anything we can do to mitigate the security risk of bridges. There was a $600 million Ronin hack from Axie Infinity. Jesus, that's more than $500 million. That's no joke. I want to sort of challenge even the metaphor of a bridge, because it's a metaphor, by the way. It's implying that you're physically carrying yourself and your tokens with you across two ecosystems, when in fact that's not what's happening. In fact, all of these instances, your tokens are locked up on one side and they're reminted on the other side, meaning there's a cash pile, a treasure chest of war chest that's just sitting there, that's now a target vector of attack for malicious actors. So I think anything that could mitigate that in such a way where there is no risk at all, is a win overall. And that's perhaps, in my opinion, been one of the biggest issues in the entire bridging ecosystem till date. It's why we've seen billions of dollars, as mentioned earlier by Cody, just drained out of this ecosystem, because the entire ethos here wasn't set up the right way. Perhaps it was the best fit that we had at the time, but I think it's high time we restructure these things and go back to first principles and start building things that inherit the full security of the underlying chain that they're built on, instead of one protocol or one smart contract or one company or one middleman entity to protect these things for us.
Great point. Great point. And I'm sorry, my Red Bull hasn't kicked in, mindless. I appreciate, it's all love. But yeah, that's a good point to bring out. Sam, do we have any other questions? If not, I will ask my last one and we'll kind of wrap this up.
No, you're all good to go.
All right. So the last question that I have is the greatest innovations often come from overcoming challenges, as Mindless just mentioned. Could the lessons of bridge failures lay the foundation for something even more remarkable, better, and safe in the near future, even with what we're trying to build? So my question is what inspires you the most about the potential of a bridge technology evolution?
Well, I would say, just jumping in again, the hackers are certainly going to learn some new stuff as well, whichever technology we come up with. But I think the thing that really excites me about this is hopefully we will soon get to a seamless, easy UX, UI world where just regular people can interact with crypto on multiple different vectors. And we do a lot of it in the background without anyone worrying about it. And I think this is the main thing. The more we get away from these complex things for arbitraging opportunities and doing all of this really difficult stuff because you simply cannot, the more of those barriers of simply cannot we remove, the bigger the space gets, the more inclusive it is. The wider this space is, the more people we can bring in, then the more unstoppable we become. And I think this is just the first steps onto seeing this as Web3 will be how the entire digital economy runs. All of your tickets will be NFTs. All of your transactions will actually be on a chain. There will be a chain for your money. There will be chains for all sorts of different stuff. Moving between them will be seamless, and it will be something we do without even thinking. When your wallet has a spam box, I think we're already going in the right direction.
Mindless, back to you.
No, this is a good question, right? So we're now being forced to think in the future, and that's where it gets difficult. So I think I would really love to see. Sorry about the background birds and the noise, by the way. I would really love to see a future in which we have an ecosystem in which now we don't need exchanges or domains or front end websites or web pages to even interact with this stuff. So for example, something similar to a uTorrent or LimeWire client that you can install on your machine, and there you go. You can interact with blockchains natively with the backend infrastructure of the entire network that's there, and you don't need to go through a specific page, domain, company orientation, centralized exchange, or anything of that sort. And every user essentially is empowered by just a piece of software they install on their machine with wallets and multi-chain wallets and everything else hooked in right there. That, I think, is something that's truly unstoppable. I know atomic swaps and things of that sort kind of came close, but it's still a little clunky. It's not quite there yet. I know we're inching closer every day, but perhaps that's like something I'd really, really like to see one day.
You and me both. Ultra, do you have any future things you would like to see happen with the advancement of this bridgeless interoperability?
If I had a specific thing in mind, I'd probably be building it already. So not right now. I think we're already making a lot of progress with what we're building at the moment, and at least from the Ultra perspective, right? I mean, I think there are tools out there that enable us to do a lot more than we could before, and there are ways to do it better now. And we are already taking advantage of it.
That's great to hear. DeFi Jojo or Mascot, you guys have anything you want to add to that? Or
By the way, guys, sorry, I got to jump. I'm already late for a thing, for a meeting. So thank you all, and we'll see you next time. I'll see you next time.
thanks, Dan. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to me, it's like honestly, and I think we will get there, but like safe bridges, smooth ones where people will not even realize that they are kind of like transacting through different chains, that they are moving assets through different chains. I think we'll get there, and this is something that will bring and it will help actually the adoption, because the more kind of like the companies and all, like the wider the adoption that is kind of like becoming and taking place, we'll have more and more chains coming into the surface that will be used for different purposes, etc. So we will need those so-called bridges. So smooth bridges, safe ones, and within few seconds, instead of like staring on your screen and praying and crossing your fingers that nothing will happen and you will receive the funds on the other side.
Great insight. Mascot, you want to round it out?
Yeah, I feel like all of these speakers have really done a great job of encompassing a lot of the areas and the weak points. But as Trade covered right before he left, if there was a need, he would start building it, and that's really what I love the most about not just this topic, but the industry as a whole. Is that we live in a space right now with crypto the way it is, that if you see a need for something and you have the know-how, you can build it and make it better. So I am excited for the future, that as this issue continues to persist, with bridges, and if we should burn them down or not, that for all the bad actors that are out there, there are people here that really want to see this place succeed and that have the skill set to do so. And so I think there's an underlining thought, for me at least, that no matter what, however long the road takes to get there, especially just as a user, not even as someone who operates in a DEX, that the product, regardless of regulation, regardless of what's going on in the world, because there are people that love the technology, it will get better. It is inevitable. And I'm just really stoked for that. I think with crypto, like I said, things move a million miles an hour. So trying to predict it is hard, right? But what we can predict is our reaction to it, and that's to be able to recognize good technology, good actors, and to work with people that want to, enhance the space and make it better for all of us. And if we do that, I think we'll have a better experience moving forward for all of us. That'll just keep building on itself. So I'm super pumped for the future.
Well said. I'll just kind of add my 2 cents in to kind of wrap things up here a little bit as well. From a layer 1 perspective, our whole ethos is around not competing with blockchains, not competing with projects. We're here to unite. And I honestly feel that a lot of the user experience that everybody's been talking about today on the panel doesn't come from just one source. It's going to be a collaboration of all these different projects, all these different chains, to create that unified utopia vision of what we have for Web3. And that's the only way that we're ever going to be able to create that seamless experience, is to come together, collaborate, and as we evolve our technology, pushing those kind of quote unquote bad actors out, and making it more difficult, will come with collaboration 100%. So if you want to look at it from that perspective, is it is taming the wild west of what we call crypto, and kind of bringing it into a developed, civilized kind of self-regulated kind of experience. And I think that will definitely be achievable, hopefully in my lifetime, so that I can see the fruition of our labor. But yeah, I definitely feel like we're definitely headed there. So Big thanks to all of our panelists that have participated in today's episode of Burning Crypto Bridges. Apologize for the the tongue-in-cheek play on the title there, but definitely something. If you're here, it was definitely something that you're curious about or passionate about as well. So we appreciate our listeners tuning in. If you haven't already, please be sure to retweet this link to this episode so that we can get it out. I think there was a lot of good knowledge and expertise about this topic shared today. Likewise, be sure to give each and every single one of our panelists a follow. They definitely showed up with their A game today, and they definitely deserve your follow. So with that being said, thanks again for tuning in. My name is Cody. I'm the Chief Experience Officer at Layer 1X, and we will see you on the next episode of X Talks. Have a great day, afternoon, or evening, wherever you're at. See ya.